Backstage Noble Wife, the story of America's favorite family of the footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. Yesterday, realizing that the bills had piled up in their absence from Skunk Haven and that Harry had no job, Mary and Harry decided that he should try and find one. And Calvin volunteered that he had a friend at the peanut butter factory in Skunk Haven. Now it's about a half hour later as they welcome Calvin from next door, and we hear...
Well, I used the telephone over at the mother of mine's house.
Yes, I guess they must have figured we were going to be away for a long time and just turned the phone off. Well, did you call the factory, Calvin?
Yes, I did, Harry, and he said that he could see her today, this afternoon, if you want to go out to see him.
Gee, that's great.
His name is Chunky, Wallace Chunky.
Wallace Chunky, I don't believe I know him.
Well, he's the manager, and he went to school with me.
Oh,
he's a native Skunk Havian, you know.
Did he say there was a job open for Harry, Calvin?
Well, he said that he'd be glad to talk to me at the Backstayge, and he seemed to indicate that there was something available out there.
I wonder what I should wear, Mary.
Well, I don't know. I suppose I'd wear a nice business conservative with a nice conservative tie so that you look sincere. Don't want to look too smart.
Don't want to look too show busy or flashy.
Oh, don't go looking like one of those Broadway stars, because that might just turn him off completely.
Yes, I think you're right.
He's a very decent sort, but he is, as they say in the vernacular, a square.
In other words, he doesn't dig show business, huh?
Hardly. I don't think he's been to the big city of New York twice in his whole life.
Oh, well, then I'd better wear my dark suit.
No, his idea of a big time is a hayride.
Uh-huh. Well, what time did you tell him I'd be there, Calvin?
Well, I told him you'd be out there as soon as you could. You know, you don't have any gas in your car, and all our filling stations are closed.
That's right.
Buses aren't running in Skunk Haven.
Well, I'll have to walk, I guess.
It's a good, brisk 4-mile walk from here out to the Teddy Tinker Peanut Factory.
Well, you'll be ready for some peanut butter when you get there, Harry. Yes, I guess I will. Well, I'll go upstairs.
It's a long commute walking every day. 8 miles.
I'll be able to get some gas probably when I have a job.
Whoa. Well, I don't think it's that easy. The filling stations don't even have any gas.
What would having a job have to do with it, Harry?
Well, he thought he could get money and then buy gas. That's not the answer anymore. Money doesn't mean anything unless you got the gasoline in the tank.
Oh, I don't know what's happened since we've been away. The country seems to be in worse shape than when we left the mainland there a couple of months ago.
I like the way you talk. Have you ever thought of seeking public office, Harry?
Yes, but I need a job that brings in money right now, Calvin.
You know, you'd be the kind of a guy I'd like to see in Congress. You know, he can really sound off. I mean, the way you summed it up right then in one sentence.
You mean about the country being in worse shape than when we left the mainland?
Yeah, you seem to crystallize everything in one sharp, incisive sentence.
Yes, maybe
That's the kind of man that we should have in Congress.
Well, maybe I should run for Congress instead of trying to get a job at the peanut butter factory.
No, don't do that.
You better get the job first, Harry.
Oh, yes, get a job, and then we could have some money and pay the bills. Then you could run for Congress.
Then I could run for Congress or something.
First thing, you know, is to line up your objectives first.
Your priorities. You got to really line up your priorities.
Oh, yeah, you've got to be able to see a way clear to go into politics, Harry.
You can't
jump off the deep end that way.
No, and you can't have to answer to anybody. You have to be your own man, stand on your own 2 feet, yeah.
And you think working at the peanut butter factory will give me that experience, eh?
Well, it'll give you the financial security that a man seeking public office needs. You go to the public seeking their vote looking like you need the job, you're in bad shape.
You don't want to put your hand in the pork barrel till you can see a couple of weeks ahead, Harry.
Oh, definitely. Oh, I'd suggest you go out and see Mr. Chunky just as soon as possible.
All right. Wish me luck then, Mary. I'm on my way.
Harry.
Good luck, Harry. And so Harry sets out to walk to the Teddy Tinker Peanut Butter Factory and to apply for a job. You want to join us tomorrow when we'll hear the manager, Wallace Chunky, say...
tell him to wait a few minutes.
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. Our subject for this week is how to sharpen a pencil. And here to lead the discussion is Mr. Gertrude Imboden of the Lehigh Valley Pencil Sharpener Company. I'd assume from your first name, Mr. Imboden, that your parents were expecting a girl when you came along.
Well, what they were really expecting, Mr. Elliott, was that my Aunt Gertrude would leave them all of her dough, but she fixed their wagon good. She left her money to her pet Airedale, and he ran through the whole estate in about 6 months.
And so you were just stuck with the name Gertrude.
That's right.
Well, do you find that having a girl's name has proved to be a hindrance to you?
Well, something said at me. I'm 47 years old, and I'm still demonstrating pencil sharpness.
Well, that seems to me like a respectable job.
Well, it pays $62.50 a week, and they don't give me an allowance for my car. I have to go every place in the subway, and that's pretty tough for a man my age. We have one electric sharpener that weighs about 45 pounds.
Well, that's pretty heavy there.
Well, you put in a voucher for a couple of dollars lunch money, and... well, they act like you're out to get them or something.
Well, now, what we really want to talk about here is the pencil sharpener and how to use it. I understand a lot of people don't even know what a pencil sharpener is for.
Well, that's right. Most people see a pencil sharpener hanging on the wall. They think it's a dispensing machine of some kind. They try to jam money into the little hole, and... of course, all they get's a handful of pencil shavings.
Yeah, well, that must be kind of disappointing for the...
Well, especially when they try to eat the stuff, see. Pencil shavings taste awful.
Well, now, we've brought you up here today, of course, to tell our audience just what a pencil sharpener is for and how to use it.
Well, a pencil sharpener is, of course, to sharpen pencils with. Now, I've put one of our wall models up here in your studio, and if you'll just hand me a pencil, I'll demonstrate how to sharpen it.
Yeah, I don't know whether there's a pencil around here or not. I thought you'd bring one with you.
Well, I have to travel on the subway, and I don't like to carry any more with me than I have to. Besides, the company makes me buy the pencils out of my own pocket.
Well, I just looked in the drawer of the microphone table here. There's nothing in there but an old piece of fruitcake and a couple of thumbtacks.
Well, you'd think a big network like this would have a pencil.
Well, I just wouldn't know where to look. I thought you'd bring one along with you, see?
Well, when you only make $62.50 a week, you have to cut corners. And as I say, the company makes me buy all the demonstration equipment out of my own pocket.
Uh-huh.
That's Mr. Crittenden's idea. Boy, is he tight-fisted.
Next, Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. It's about 2 hours after our last episode now, mid-afternoon on the outskirts of Skunk Haven. And approaching the Teddy Tinker Peanut Butter Factory, we see Harry completing the walk he's made from the Backstage summer home. And as he enters the factory, he's greeted by the receptionist.
Yes?
Yes, I'm Harry Backstage, famous Broadway star, beloved idol of a million other women. I'm here to apply for a position. I had an appointment with Mr. Chunky.
Yes? Well, let me check with him, please. Have a seat.
Oh, thank you.
Why don't you thumb through the peanut butter book there?
Oh, the Journal of Peanut Butter.
Yes, and there's another one, Peanut Butterdom.
Huh. Well, this looks very interesting. I'm not too familiar with anything beyond eating peanut butter.
Goober Times is an interesting little book that's always on the table there, too. It comes in monthly.
Monthly, eh?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll look
it's
at
all
that.
about people who have a vested interest in goobers, or peanuts, as you will. Well, excuse me, I'll check.
Yes, certainly.
There's a...
Interesting.
I'm sorry, what was your name?
Harry Backstage, Broadway star.
There's a Mr. Backstage to see Mr. Chunky. All right. Thank you. Said wait just a few minutes.
Yes. Do you give these little books away, ma'am? Could I take one of these home with me?
You could take this other little one.
Terribly interesting.
The story of Teddy Tinker is available. You can have that home. It traces the history of the company.
Really? How old is this company?
It was started in 1953 by
really?
Mr. Teddy Tinker himself.
Oh, there was a Teddy Tinker.
There really was a Teddy Tinker. He's gone to his reward now, of course.
Most of those names, you know, are, well, they kind of made up to fit the product.
No, there was a Teddy Tinker, actually. His name was Theodore L. Tinker. He was of the famous Tinker family. They were here in Skunk Haven for years. Aren't you familiar with the Tinker family at all?
Yes, now that you mention them, I think I am. I think I went to school with a Tinker.
Yes.
Did Mr. Chunky say he'd see me soon, or?
They'll notify me when it's time for you to go in.
You told him who was here?
I explained that you were here, yes, to his secretary.
You told him I was a Broadway star and so forth?
No, I didn't. Maybe I do that?
That might have speeded things up a little bit.
Let me just check with the secretary.
Yeah, sure.
Hello. Mr. Backstage wanted me to point out to you that he's a Broadway star. And maybe that would change things. Wait a few minutes. All right.
Well?
He said still wait a few minutes.
Oh, sure. Well, I'll just...
Do you like peanuts yourself? You know, we have the smell of roasted peanuts here from one end of the year to the other, you know. And
well,
I can always tell when they're mashing a new batch. The aroma wafts up here to the front office. It's really delicious.
I hate to say it, but I've been suffering from a head cold for the past week or so, and I can't get the aroma of the peanut butter.
Well, that's part of the joy of working here, is the aroma of fresh roasted peanuts and the grinding of the peanuts into the peanut butter. Do you like chunky style?
Yes, I like both kinds. And I love peanut butter fudge.
Peanut butter fudge?
Yes.
Well, we're not engaged in the confection
of I know that.
Of peanuts. Of course, we just make the peanut butter.
Was Mr. Chunky going to buzz you when
yes,
it was time for me to
they'll buzz.
come in? Uh-huh.
Yes. Yes. So you're a Broadway star. Have you been in any plays that I'm familiar with?
Well, the last one was Westchester Furioso. You probably read about that. And then
I read something. That was poorly received by the critics, as I recall.
Well, yes. It was kind of so-so, the reviews in general, but... we lasted quite a while, and then we had a morning TV show for 2 days.
I'm sorry.
We had a morning TV show for 2 days, and then we went out to California and made a movie. Just returned from there, as a matter of fact.
You can go in now, Mr. Backstage.
Oh.
There's the buzzer.
Well, wish me luck.
For what?
And so Harry prepares to meet Wallace Chunky, manager of the peanut butter factory. Will he get the position he seeks? Be sure and join us tomorrow when we hear Mr. Chunky say,
"Yes, I have an opening here for a peanut engineer."
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking.
Well, I guess we all know what that music means. It means that little Jimmy Schwab is just entering Mr. Science's down cellar workshop next door. So let's eavesdrop, shall we, as Jimmy tittle-tattles into Mr. Science's workshop.
Why, hello, Jimmy. Welcome.
Golly, hi, Mr. Science.
Welcome to my basement laboratory, Jimmy.
Crimin' Atleys, what's that you got on your desk?
Well, that's peanut butter, Jimmy. Just had my lunch.
Holy crows. Wait till I tell the kids at school I saw some peanut butter on the desk.
Jimmy, today I thought we'd take up the weather map and study a little bit about the isobars and the millibars and the low-pressure areas and the high-pressure areas.
Hop toads and horse feathers. Gee, wait till I tell the kids at school I saw those things.
Now, Jimmy, you see on this map, here's the town we live in. And you see that line there?
Wow.
That indicates a low-pressure area, Jimmy.
Well, galloping gelatin.
Now, this one over here is a stationary line.
Stationary line? I'll be cow-kicked. Wait till I tell the kids at school I saw one of those.
That means a stationary front. And over here is a cold front. Now, when these two come together, Jimmy, what would you think would happen?
Golly. Gee, I don't have any idea. I'll be apple-eyed if I know.
Well, Jimmy, then you have a spell of bad weather. Now, this mark here means an occluded front.
Oh, goody two-shoes. Well, I tell a kid at school I saw that.
That's a little bit like the way your teeth come together there, Jimmy.
Donner and Blitzen. Well, I tell a kid at school my teeth come together.
Now, these other symbols mean clear, partly cloudy, fog, snow.
Lollapalooza.
Say, Jimmy.
Yeah.
See this little figure right over the town we're living in?
Gadzooks. What's that mean, Mr.
Indicates we're right in the middle of a hurricane area.
Oh, wait till I tell the kids at school. What?
Yes. I don't know about you, Jimmy. If you want to see the eye of a hurricane, you stay here. But for me, I'm getting out.
I want to go, too.
Come on, hurry up.
So much for little Jimmy Schwab and Mr. Science. We'll drop in on them again real soon.
Life and Loves of Linda Lovelace, written for radio by A. Carrington Lump. Starring Marcia Van Alshot as Linda, Sherman L. Sturdley as David. Uncle Eugene is portrayed by Horace K. Winterhalter. Today, it's 2 days before Christmas in River's Mouth, as we see Linda and David seated before a crackling fireplace in the small house halfway up the next block, over the bowling alley. It's so quiet you can hear a pin drop.
Cut it out.
Linda looks at David and says,
David, all the gifts are packed and wrapped now. I think I'll just sit down here by the... Oops, too close to the fire.
Yes, it's been a wonderful Christmas season. I'm glad it's just about over.
It hasn't started yet, really, David.
Oh. Where's Uncle Eugene this afternoon, my dear?
That precious thing.
Haven't seen him for several hours.
He was taking an inventory of his peanut butter sandwiches.
Well, hello, folks.
Hello, Uncle Eugene.
Uncle Eugene,
everything, all the preparations for Christmas, all that sort of stuff?
Where were you down cellar?
Huh?
I say, where were you?
I was over in the wine cellar.
David, did you give him...
Where I'm keeping my peanut butter sandwiches, next to the Amontillado. I think that's one of it.
Well, you keep out of there, please.
Yes, Uncle Eugene. Remember, Christmas is still 2 days off.
Yes.
Who's off, Dave?
You are, Uncle Eugene. You're a fright. You look terrible.
I've got a lot of things to do before Christmas Day rolls around.
Do you have all your gifts wrapped?
Yes, most of them.
What are you sending this year?
I am sending miniature suction shoes to everybody, all my friends.
Isn't that thoughtful?
You can wear them on your lapel, or you can wear them as...
Little charms.
Little charms around your wristwatch.
Isn't that clever?
That's a good idea, Uncle Eugene.
Oh,
yes, it is.
Oh, Uncle Eugene, you're a pearl.
What are we having for dinner Christmas Day?
Turkey, of course.
Of course, Uncle Eugene. It's practically traditional here to have turkey on Christmas Day.
If you'd prefer those peanut butter sandwiches, you may have.
Well, frankly, I would.
Yes.
I'll just bring my peanut butter sandwiches to the dinner table and open them up and eat them there, and you
Don't
can
you
have the
have
turkey.
them dated as you made them? I
Yes,
noticed there was some April 1948 peanut butter.
That's right. I look for the date stamped on every sandwich.
Yes.
Then you know it's fresh peanut butter sandwich.
Oh, you're so darling.
Yes, and they'll be putting them in the new vacuum tin pretty soon, Uncle Eugene.
Think of it.
Boy, I'll be real lucky then, huh?
Yes, you will.
Well, I've got to get back to counting. So long.
How many do you have, Uncle Eugene?
433.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yes, got them piled right up to the rafters.
Good boy.
Well, go ahead, Uncle Eugene, and more power to you.
Okay, bye.
He has a little electric motor down there, David. I've heard it purring all day.
I've been thinking a lot about Uncle Eugene lately. I think he's a little soft.
David, that's not kind.
Well, I hated to say it, but it was written here.
But, David, this Christmas, let's find out whose uncle he is.
I think that's a good idea. He's not mine, I know.
He certainly isn't mine. We have no history of peanut butter collectors in my family. None whatsoever.
I think I'll go up into the attic and get out our family history and...
Oh, let's not. Let's have a pleasant Christmas.
Well, so it begins to come to light that Uncle Eugene is not David and Linda's uncle. And how will it affect their Christmas in River's Mouth? Tomorrow we'll hear Linda say...
It's too late, Bob.
Be sure to listen tomorrow for The Life and Loves of Linda Lovely, written for radio by A. Carrington Lump.
Well, that was very exciting. I bet they'll have a very happy Christmas over at Lovely's. I mean, they are soft as grapes, granted,
But they have fun.
they can celebrate.
Sure.
They know how to celebrate and have a good time.
That's right.
And Ken, I know you'll have a grand time. Well, that's more to size. Incidentally, the boys down at Payne's sent us up that great big paper airplane.
Biggest paper airplane we've ever received.
What time are you going to fly that out the window? I don't know. That's a real
It'd
big
be fun to do that, though. I imagine
I should like to get up on top of the John Hancock building and let that go.
Oh, it'd be a real Christmas celebration.
Must have a wing spread there of 2 or 3, or about 2 feet, wouldn't you say, or 3 feet?
I would say so, yeah.
You know the kind of airplane we're talking about, the folded-over type you used to make in school and always get caught throwing. Teachers always had unique ways of selecting the guilty person.
Next, Mary Backstage, Noble Wife, the story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. And And our story picks up today where yesterday's ended, as Harry is being ushered into the office of the manager of the Teddy Tinker Peanut Butter Factory in Skunk Haven, Long Island, Wallace Chunky, who says to Harry,
"Well, Mr. Backstayge, I'd like to ask you a few questions. We do have an opening here for a peanut engineer."
"Yes, that's what Calvin told me. May I sit down?"
"Please."
"Oh, wait, I'll close the door first."
"Do you have any prior experience as an engineer at all?"
"Well, I don't know just what you mean by a peanut engineer. What does it entail exactly?"
"Well, actually, you will sit at the foot of a... just give me just a moment."
Sure.
"Hello, this is Mr. Chunky. Tell you what,
If it's someone else for that job, please hold it for me, Mr. Chunky."
"No. Well, maybe if you could just reach in and try to get it out. Yeah. I tell you what. Excuse me just a second.
Yes, sure.
Somebody dropped their hat in a vat of the peanut butter.
"Oh, sure. Go ahead. That's more important.
Just a moment.
It's more important than any job."
Look, why don't you read some of the pamphlets here on my desk?
All right. I was reading some out in the hall outside.
All right, I'll be right back.
Very interesting reading. Peanut butter and its many uses. Candy. I wonder if his radio works. Better answer that, I guess. Hello?
This Backstage?
Yes, this is Harry Backstage.
Well, this is Mr. Chunky.
Yes.
Look, I wonder, could you come down to the main production room? Have one of the girls show you how to get here. I fell into the vat after the hat, and I need some help.
Well, isn't there anyone else working there that can help you?
No, they all left. You better hurry. It's up to my neck.
All right, I'll Miss?
Yeah.
Mr. Chunky just phoned. How do I get to the processing room?
Oh, just follow me. What happened? Something bad?
No, someone dropped a hat into the vat, and he went after that and fell in himself.
Oh, my. Well, we better hurry.
Yes. Is it this way?
Yes, right through this door.
I walk this way? Oh, right.
Here, let me...
Yeah, grab my coat. I don't want to... there.
Oh, boy.
Boy, that makes a mess of your clothes, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Well, at least you're safe. I guess that vat will have to be thrown out, huh?
What?
I say, I guess that vat will have to be thrown out.
Well, you'll have to rethink that one.
Well,
No, there's nothing wrong with that vat.
But, I mean, you've been standing in it.
My shirt was clean. My suit just came from the cleaners.
But you had
my shoes shine this morning.
Well, I know, but it's a terrible thought. Does that happen very often?
I fall into that vat, I'll bet you 4 times a year, and it's all carelessness. And it's always going after somebody's hat or somebody's bracelet or somebody's wristwatch or something.
Well, you've taken me aback a bit. What are you going to do now?
Well, first I'm going to take a shower. And I want to give you this aptitude test. And because of your help, I'm sure you're going to be our next peanut engineer.
Well, I certainly hope so, Mr. Chunky. I'll wait for you back in your office. And so Harry prepares to return to the office of the plant manager to await the aptitude test. And you'll want to be here tomorrow when we'll hear Wallace Chunky say...
Well, it's not very encouraging, the results of the test, but I think you have the job.
That's in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. Now it's romantic drama time. Presenting the life and love of Linda Lovely, written for radio by A. Carrington Love, and starring Marcia Van Alshot as Linda, Sherman L. Sturdley as David, and featuring Horace K. Winterhalter as Uncle Eugene. Yesterday, after the disquieting news that 32 of Uncle Eugene's collection of peanut butter sandwiches are missing from their usual place on his hobby shelf, there was a still more alarming telephone call from Police Inspector Polk, who phoned to say that he thinks Fingers McGee has a hand in the unusual proceedings. Now, a moment later, in the small house in River's Mouth, Linda puts down the telephone and says to David,
David, Fingers McGee is at the bottom of this.
Meanwhile, at the same moment, across town at the fashionable Romney Tea Room in River's Mouth, two men sit quietly talking, and we recognize one as Fingers McGee.
Eddie, what are you eating there?
Bean and egg.
Look, I want to talk to you about the caper out there at that house, the lovely house.
Yeah, pass the sour cream, will you?
Wilco.
What are we going to do about them lovelies?
Why did you take the peanut butter sandwiches?
Oh, I didn't mean to, Fingers. I was just hungry.
You made it a federal case.
We got to get out to that lovely house right away.
Now, look, I'm still boss here. Don't forget that.
Hey, Fingers, you know something?
What?
You sound just like me.
Yeah? Never noticed before.
What are we going to do when we get out there, huh?
Follow me this way.
Right.
Get the check.
Well, will Eddie pick up the check? And what will Fingers and Eddie do when they arrive at David and Linda's house? You'll certainly want to listen tomorrow when the doorbell rings and Linda answers it with...
Oh, no!
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode in The Life and Loves of Linda Lovely, written for radio by A. Carrington Love. I don't understand that story.
No, I don't either. It doesn't make head nor tail to me.
Well, you've got to listen to it for a while before you get it, Mary.
Kind of like olives, I suppose. Well, I haven't been listening to all the episodes, but who's this Fingers McGee?
Fingers McGee, I should imagine, is the crook in the outfit.
Oh, I
think,
see. And what about the peanut butter sandwiches?
Well, that's Uncle Eugene's strange hobby. That's all. He collects them.
Mm-hmm, surely, yeah.
There's something like 168 of them.
Mm-hmm, yes.
But 32 was sold.
Well, it makes sense. I just thought I'd ask a few questions about it.
Next, Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. Today, Harry begins his new job as peanut engineer at the Teddy Tinker Peanut Butter Factory, and after having walked from his home, summer home in Skunk Haven, Harry is just arriving now at the office of the manager, Wallace Chunky, as we hear.
Well, it's quite a walk you had there, Backstage.
Yes, but it was a brisk morning. I really didn't mind it too much.
All right. Why don't you follow me? I'll take you for a tour through the factory, and so you'll get the sense, the feel of it.
Oh, sure, fine.
We'll have you starting work right after the noon whistle today.
I haven't been up this early for quite a number of months, I'll tell you. In show business, you see, we sleep late.
I never caught any of your shows. You were a comedian or a straight actor, or what are you?
Well,
anyway?
a little bit of everything, Wallace, if you don't mind me calling you that.
No, everybody does.
I've been on the straight Broadway stage as an actor. I've been a comedian. Of course, had a television show my wife and I had for a while. Well, 2 days, actually. So a little bit of everything, really.
Uh-huh. Are you a cartoon on TV or a real person?
Oh, no, I'm always a real person.
Uh-huh.
You mean, am I an animated voice?
That's what I thought, maybe. You're voice over, is it? Is that what they call it?
Yes, I see you do know a little bit about show business after all.
Oh, yeah, I know all the commercials. I watch them all the time. I get quite a kick out of those
Like television, huh?
Yeah. I like commercials sometimes better than the show itself.
Well, maybe I'll be able to get you some tickets to TV shows.
Joe Franklin, anything like that?
I'll see what I can do, sure.
Wonderful.
Well, let's go to work.
Okay, come on. I'll show you the main processing plant.
Right.
So your job as peanut engineer will be right down here at the foot of this tube. You'll sit, and you will take see the peanut coming down?
Yes.
Take that, and then you crack it.
and separate the two little goobers inside and put them into this dish.
The way that fellow there is doing, eh?
Right.
He seems to be doing a pretty workmanlike job there, Wallace.
Well, this is his last day. He's quitting. He's moving out to Arizona.
Oh.
The climate out there is a little more agreeable to his way of life, I guess. He has a mild postnasal drip condition, too.
I should think this might become a little bit monotonous, however.
He's been doing it for 15 years, and he seemed to have had a personality change in those years, I'd say. Yeah.
Oh, what's that? What's that?
That was a clinker. That peanut came down there with a crack in it. They have to be perfectly shaped peanuts. You can see what happened.
Boy, there's more to this job than I thought at first.
That's a no-no.
You see, that's the fellow up above on the top floor. Who supervises it? Who said that's a no-no?
Well, what do you do with the clinkers, as you call them, when they come through like that?
Well, they're reprocessed, and we try to push them through again. And every once in a while, one or two gets through. But we find a use for them. There's a small factory on the other side of town that makes a B grade. They take those peanuts with the slices in them or cracks in them.
Well, do you want me to start right in now? Or?
I wish you would, Mr. Backstage.
All right. This fellow will move over.
Lyle?
I'm going to take over your job, Lyle. I'm Harry Backstage, famous Broadway star. Does he always
Lyle,
talk that way, Wallace?
No, he didn't 15 years ago, he didn't, but he does now. Come on, Lyle.
Well, okay, you can leave me. Rest assured that I'll do the job to the best of my ability. And so, in reality, Harry sets about the first day of work as peanut engineer. You want to join us tomorrow when we'll hear Mary say,
"Oh, you poor thing. Why don't you go right to bed?"
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. We're down in the studio audience right now with our portable microphone. I want to say hello to some of the folks who are here in our studio today. I think we might spend a minute or so with this lady who's trying to open a huge safe here in the aisle. Did you forget the combination, ma'am?
No, as a matter of fact, I never knew the combination in the first place. But normally, that's no real obstacle because you can feel the tumblers falling into position.
That's what I've heard. You must have a terribly urgent reason for wanting to get it open. I mean, a safe is pretty heavy to drag around unless it's a genuine emergency, isn't it?
Well, I think you could say that the circumstances causing me to drag this one in here would add up to a genuine emergency in anybody's book.
It would. Well, you must have a fascinating story. Do you want to tell us about it?
No, I don't believe I'd care to.
Oh, okay.
See, there in the dark, I couldn't be sure whether I just grazed the night watchman or what. So I'd prefer not to discuss the thing at all until I find out exactly what I'm involved in here.
Well, okay, we don't want to get involved in long-winded stories from people who aren't sure of their facts anyway.
Yeah.
And now, the makers of grime, the magic shortening that spreads like lard, invite you to join us for another episode of The Gathering Dusk. As we look in on the Bessinger household today, Edna is still bedridden. It's around noon, and Mr. Willoughby, the village auto dealer, is just entering the room.
Oh, Mr. Willoughby, it's so nice to see you.
How do, Miss Edna?
It's been a long time, hasn't it?
Yes, I was just trying to think on the way over here how long it's been since we've seen each other.
Well, I think it was when David and I were still living together. We all used to go out to the country club on Saturday night and get a good load on.
Yes, it was quite a long time ago. I see David down in the village once in a while.
They say he's just eating his heart out for me. I hear he's practically become a bum since I threw him out.
Well, I wouldn't exactly call him a bum, Miss Edna. He's one of the directors of the bank and chairman of the school board.
Oh, I know he puts up a brave front. They say you have to talk to him for quite a while to see how broken up he really is.
Well, I talk to him quite a bit. We bowl in the same league every Wednesday night, and Well, he seems to have a wonderful time.
What is it they say about laughing on the outside and crying on the inside? It's a line from Wordsworth, I think.
I don't know much about poetry, Miss Edna. All I know is that David is happy and prosperous.
I'm pretty sure it's Wordsworth. I used to know all those things so well.
Yeah, it might be Wordsworth. I just don't know.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yes, ma'am. Well, Miss Edna, I don't suppose you brought me all the way over here just to talk about poetry. Is there something I can do for you?
Yes, there is, Mr. Willoughby. I see you still have the Whippet Agency here in town.
Well, I'm still in the automobile business. They haven't made whippets for almost 50 years.
Is that right? I noticed I hadn't seen many of them passing the house lately, but I just thought, you weren't selling too many of them.
No, they don't make them anymore. I am in the auto business, though. Can I be of service?
Well, yes, you can. I've been bedridden for 17 years now, and I've decided to sell my car. It just worries me so, seeing it sitting out there in the garage, rusting and going to pieces. Just look at it.
Well, Miss Edna, that's not your car.
It isn't?
Well, no. That car belongs to Hawkins' junkyard. That's the back of the garage on the next street. I guess Hawkins just parked one of his old wrecks in there. Doesn't even have any wheels.
Well, I noticed that, but I thought some kids had taken them off. You sure it's not my car?
I'm positive. You never had a car that I know of.
Well, Mr. Willoughby, you can't know what a worry this lifts from my shoulders. It's almost as if I'm no longer standing in the gathering dusk.
Ladies, there's nothing worse or unhandy than a shortening that has to be melted with a blowtorch. That's why you'll go for Grime, the magic shortening that spreads like lard. Try some today and be sure to be with us next time when Edna goes to the village in the gathering dusk. His gentleman over here in the next row is getting artificial respiration from a rescue squad. Aren't you a little far inland to be a drowning victim, sir?
Well, not with that water fountain you've got out here in the lobby, sir. Did you ever step down on the foot pedal and have it catch you full blast right square in the bazoo?
No, I never did, but everybody who works here knows what it can do, so we all have sense enough to stand aside and just collect part of the spray in a little paper cup when it's on the way back down.
Well, I figured it was something but an ordinary drinking fountain, I thought that's what it was, but so there I was with my my mouth wide open, less than 6 inches away from the nozzle when it hit.
Yeah, well, any of the ushers here would have been glad to tell you what was bound to happen if you'd taken a minute to ask.
Well, who goes around taking a public opinion poll before they get a drink of water?
Well, that's right, too, I guess. But I'm sorry it bothered you that way, and you were our guest, and when you called in this whole bunch of firemen that we didn't even know were going to give you first aid,
Yeah. Well, I was also here as your guest when I almost drowned, and I'd like to see your lawyer wiggle out of that one.
Well, since
when
you
the case comes up.
Put it that way, we always like to keep our informal conversations with the plaintiff as brief as possible, so... Next, Mary Backstayge, Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. Harry's first day of work at the peanut butter factory is ended now, and as we join our friends, we see him, Mary, next-door neighbor Calvin L. Hoogeden, and Pop Beloved, stage doorman, in the living room of the Backstayge summer home in Skunk Haven. And we hear Calvin say,
You must have to scrub your hands a lot after you come home just to get the smell of peanuts off them, don't you?
Yes, I do, Calvin. Oh, boy, I'm tired. What are we having for dinner, Mary?
Well, I thought maybe a nice meatloaf, something like that.
Oh, good.
Suppose you thought I might have some sort of a peanut salad or something.
Well, I wasn't really hoping for it, I'll tell you that.
After I thought of bringing you a peanut butter sandwich, I realized how ludicrous that was. I should have brought you something else over at the factory.
Yes. You think you're going to
thinking of my part.
like the job, Harry? In the long run, I mean.
Really wasn't smart of me to do that.
Well, I don't know.
Peanut butter sandwich
Pop.
when there you are all day at the peanut factory.
What's that, Mary?
I'm just saying how foolish it was of me to bring you a peanut butter sandwich. I should have brought you something else.
Oh,
Maybe
well,
a meatloaf or
doesn't matter.
possibly jelly even.
I don't think it'll be
just
too
to
bad,
bring you a peanut
Bob.
butter sandwich for lunch while you're there at the peanut factory is, I think, just too much.
I think it'll work out. You know, everything does in
sign
time.
that I just wasn't thinking properly or straight that day. That's for sure.
Maybe I could go down and give you a hand someday.
Sometimes I wonder about me.
Well, you
because I do these odd, unusual things.
After I've been there a while, of course, not right away. No, not right away, of course. Not like tomorrow, although the prospect of you sitting in for me tomorrow is not unpleasant at all.
The mother of me wanted to know how you like it. She said she had a second cousin who used to work at the Tinker Peter factory many years ago.
I wonder if the same thing, did he have the same job I do?
I have no idea. It was a second cousin. Of course, that was a long time ago.
You know, the man whose place I took.
Probably a third cousin by now.
Could be, yes. The man whose place I took left the factory yesterday with a strange sound to his voice. I don't know just what happened to him.
What, the man who you replaced?
Yes, Lyle.
Lyle? I didn't see him.
What do you mean by strange sound?
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
Well, he just talked like, ooh, like that.
Well, possibly, working on that kind of a job could bring out that in a person. Make him start talking in monosyllables because he works so, on such single units. He starts talking like that. Ooh.
Yes, that's possible. I suppose that could happen.
Yes,
the monotony of it.
That. Bring you a sandwich.
Yeah, I'll come down and spell you someday, Harry. Get an afternoon off.
Really, to bring a person who works in a peanut butter factory a peanut butter sandwich. The more I think about it, the more I'm ashamed. I hope you'll forgive me, Harry.
You got Harry's lunch packed for tomorrow, Barry?
What's that?
You got Harry's lunch packed for tomorrow.
No, I haven't, but you can rest assured it will not be peanut butter.
There's the telephone.
I'll get it. Excuse me.
Oh, boy, I'm tired. Wow.
Hello?
Oh, boy. Well, you could get a good night's sleep, Harry, and be refreshed and ready to go tomorrow.
Well,
Time do you
just
start?
1 moment, please.
7.
It's for you, Harry.
Oh?
It's the factory.
Oh.
Mr. Chunky.
The manager?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, Wallace? Yes. What? He's what?
No,
yes.
you see, I made him a peanut butter sandwich.
Well,
I brought it over to him for lunch.
Pretty tired
the
first day of the
he
job.
ate it all. I just don't know what I was thinking of. Well, I don't know how he could do that. Either peanut butter
yeah, well,
sandwich.
maybe I could get a nap, sure.
Be working at the peanut factory, too.
Okay, I'll be there then. 12 midnight. And bye, Wallace.
What's that?
The night peanut engineer is sick. I've got to go over and fill in for him. Make me a sandwich to take along, will you, Mary?
Tonight?
And so Harry sets out for the Teddy Tinker factory again for an extra shift to help out an ailing co-worker. You'll want to join us tomorrow when we'll hear Mary say,
"Oh, you poor thing. I brought you another... Oh, I forgot."
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking. Let me move over to this lady across the aisle here. What's that you're knitting, man?
Color TV set. I'm making the cabinet blue to match the living room rug.
That's a good idea if you're going to keep the set in the same room all the time.
Well, I imagine I'll have to. The only connection to the antenna on the roof is there in the living room, and I understand you really need an outdoor antenna for these knitted sets.
Well, I don't know anything about it, but I suppose if you drop a stitch while you're making one of these complicated circuits, it could cause flop over.
Well, yes, that's what I've been told. And naturally, I want this one to be just right, because it's a birthday surprise for my husband.
Oh.
Incidentally, do you think a 21-inch tube is too small for a man about your height, a little more heavy set?
Well, I take a 21 myself. I'd suggest a 23 just to play it safe, huh?
Fine.
And now, back up to the great revolving stage. Next, Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. Just as Harry was preparing for a good night's sleep after his first day of work at the peanut butter factory, the manager, Wallace Chunky, phoned him and asked that he come in for the midnight shift. Now, as Harry reports to the Teddy Tinker Peanut Butter Factory, we hear...
I'm glad to see you, Backstage.
Oh, boy, am I ever tired, Wallace.
I was in a real bind. I don't know what to do if you didn't come over tonight. I really appreciate this.
Well, glad to help out. Even though I am tired, I don't know whether I can work to peak efficiency or not.
Well, I'm sure you can, and as you know, you'll get good overtime pay for your troubles.
Well, that certainly will come in handy, Wallace.
One thing about us tinkers, money is no object.
Uh-huh. Well, I'd better get in and get to work. It's going to be a long night.
Look, we brought over this portable TV just so you'll have some company during the wee hours of the morning.
Oh, that's very nice
so
of
that
you.
You won't feel all alone in this big, scary world at night cracking peanuts.
Say, is there any truth to the rumor that you people are going to put out a peanut butter and jelly combination?
We're retooling for that now. We hope to get around to that as soon as possible. Yeah, that's a big new number on the market now. The big thing is we don't know what jelly to put in. Grape, of course, is the first one that comes to mind, and yet we've been dabbling with the idea possibly of apple.
Raspberry wouldn't be bad? Raspberry jam?
Well, we were wondering about that. You see, the jam has these little tiny seeds.
Yes.
And, that could cause some kind of a reaction with the buying public, with your consumer. Now, I think we have to stick with smooth stuff. Everything's smooth.
Okay, I'm going to turn the TV set on here and sit down and start to work. You can tell the man upstairs to start the peanuts down the tube.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night. Good luck.
I wonder what's on this time of night. I don't believe I've looked at television at 1 o'clock in the morning for a good many months now. Oh, tired.
Word just recently as to how many of the whooping cranes have survived.
Well, it's the Whooping Crane Show. Oh, dropped one.
At the present time, there are 45 whooping cranes in the world, and all these are confined to the North American continent.
How many are you adding each year? 2 or 3 now?
Well, in 1938,
Backstage?
only
yes.
14
TV working all right?
Yes, it seems to be. Have you ever seen this Whooping Crane Show? It seems to follow us wherever we go.
No, I've never caught it. I don't watch too much TV. I'm so peanut occupied that it seems to be in my mind all the time. Now, of course, it's peanut and jelly. Have you had any further thought on what I should mix with the peanut when we retool?
At the present time, 36
What?
Hey, look, Backstage. I think you're dozing off now. Maybe if I open this window over here.
That might be a good idea.
Let a little air come in.
As I understand, there's one pair.
It might keep you awake. It's one thing about getting into a closed room like this when you're tired and the heat and the droning of a TV set.
And the smell of these peanuts.
Right, it can certainly make one first.
There's
flanker.
Reject. This is a nightmare, really.
14 birds.
I think, Wallace, I'll turn the TV off.
That's a no-no.
Yes, we know. I threw it out.
Well, okay, if you want to, I think that's a bad idea. The TV probably would keep you awake. Here, let me open the window
Yeah,
for you.
sure.
Yeah, get some air in here.
Oh.
Okay.
1,400.
There. Isn't that great?
Oh, look, it's blowing the peanuts all the way across the room.
These birds.
What'll I do now?
Against the loudest shooting.
And so, as Wallace Chunky opens the factory window, the peanuts begin flying through the air. You'll want to be here tomorrow when we'll hear Mr. Chunky say,
I might put in some sort of a marshmallow mixture.
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking.
These new pictures of yours, what's in the making? What are we?
Well, Bob, we just did what you might call the story of food. And
that's that new Technicolor production. I heard.
Grub.
Grub, yeah.
A beautiful picture.
Sydney Fat Street.
We trace food from its very beginning right up to the present day.
You didn't happen to bring along any transcribed trailers that will be used in connection with the preview of this film, did you?
I don't. I believe I did. Yes.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wait a second. The following is transcribed.
grub, you'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll wish you stayed at home. The story of grub, the story of food from the Western Plains. See handsome Humphrey Goldmark, the Tallulah Boathead. See Sidney Fatstreet as the lovable senorita in Grub. Babies cry for, men fight for, women love for Grub, the story of food. In beautiful black and white.
Coming next week to Murphy's Open Air Theater, Backpasture, New Hampshire.
Next, Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. The story of America's favorite family of the Footlights and of their fight for security and happiness against the concrete heart of Broadway. It's early morning at the Teddy Tinker Peanut Butter Factory in Skunk Haven, and as Harry completes his all-night shift, cracking peanuts as they come down the tube, he's joined by plant manager Wallace Chunky, and we hear...
Well, you got through the night, I see.
Oh, yes, just about, Wallace.
That is a grind. I made arrangements for somebody to come in tonight so that you won't have to work the night shift again 2 nights in a row. Just one day, and I think you'll be all right.
Say, I've been giving a lot of thought to what you could mix with the peanut butter. How about bits of bacon?
That's a good thought. You can note that.
Well, I guess I'll be heading back home.
You mean the chemical bacon or the real thing?
Oh, I think the real thing would be better, wouldn't it?
Cooked bacon?
Yes.
I mean, would it hold up in a jar of peanut butter?
Well, you'd have to do some experimenting with it, of course, but it's a
call
thought.
in the chemist and have my chemist check that out.
Oh, wait a minute. I want to see this part of the
chance
whooping crane show.
To help break down the makeup of the peanut butter.
Last summer.
You know, it could.
As I understand, there's one pair of these birds in a zoo. There's one pair of birds that was crippled in the
paying attention to this?
You'll have to have the plant research man
I'll have
look into that.
My chemist
and they raised 3 young.
Well, a good thought, and I want to thank you for giving it your attention.
All right. Are you going to...
How many whooping cranes were there in the old days?
How many whooping cranes were there?
Well, I mentioned
15.
before that there were 14
How could you
birds.
stand this picture with the slight
in let's say 25 or 30 years ago, how many were there?
Well,
I'm afraid
you can't stabilize that picture. It must be the vertical hold. Did that bother you during the night, having it slip that way?
I haven't been able to get away from my desk to try and set it in there.
Only 1,400.
You really have had a trying time backstage. A true indoctrination. Certainly a baptism of fire. Here, your first day on duty at the peanut butter factory, and here you put in almost 2 complete shifts. My hat is off to you. Incidentally, you're supposed to always wear something on your head in here and stuff. From now on, if you could make a note of that, get something from one of the girls.
Like a hairnet?
Or a shower cap. We don't want any hair in any of these nuts.
Okay. Well, if you're going to take over for me then, I'll leave for home.
Why don't you get up and leave?
Well, there's a lot of new
Oh, my legs feel very weak.
Backstage! What's wrong? Backstage!
Especially the snow.
Help! He's collapsed!
They can easily be mistaken.
And so, as Harry rises to leave for home, he suddenly collapses on the floor of the peanut butter factory. And Mr. Chunky calls for help. And you'll want to join us on Monday when we'll hear Wallace say,
I've seen that before. This is the early symptom of peanut fever.
That's Monday in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. Word Carr speaking.
Oh, my, the dreaded peanut fever coming.